The white mantle, the Templars' sacred flame, envision a dawn where the desert sun rises like a promise over the Holy Land, its golden rays caressing the weary faces of pilgrims whose hearts have journeyed 1,000 miles for a single touch of sacred stone. It's the year 1118, and in the shadowed halls of Jerusalem's Temple Mount, 9 knights kneel in prayer. Their white mantles glowing like beacons of hope, their souls ablaze with a love so pure it could move mountains. This is the birth of the Knights Templar, 907 years ago, a brotherhood forged in the tender fire of compassion, guardians of the weak whose courage and devotion became a living hymn to faith, a legacy of light that still warms the coldest night. The Crusades, a river of tears and triumph, were born from a father's broken heart. In 1095, Pope Urban II stood before a sea of knights at Clermont, his voice cracking with sorrow as he spoke of over 30,000 churches burned to ash by the Seljuk blade sanctuaries where mothers once prayed, where children sang hymns, now reduced to blackened ruins, their crosses trampled under hooves of conquest, as Raymond Ibrahim's chronicles weepingly recount. Pilgrims, those gentle souls seeking Christ's footprint, were robbed, raped, and slaughtered on the roads to Jerusalem, their cries rising like incense to heaven. Urban's call was not for war, but for rescue, a father's plea to save his children from the dark. From this ocean of grief, the First Crusade answered with love's fierce tide. In 1099, after 2 years of blood and prayer, Jerusalem opened her arms once more, the city's liberation a moment of pure, trembling joy. Yet the roads remained treacherous, bandits lurking like wolves, pilgrims falling like autumn leaves. Into this sorrow stepped Hugues de Payns, 40, a knight whose heart bled for every weary traveller, his eyes soft with the tenderness of a shepherd. With 8 brothers, Godfrey de Saint-Omer, André de Montbard, and 6 more whose names are etched in heaven's book, they vowed before Patriarch Warmond to protect the pilgrims, to be their shield, their light, their hope. They took the name Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, living in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, once a stable, now a sanctuary of love. Bernard of Clairvaux, 52, the monk whose soul burned with divine poetry, saw in them the face of Christ. In 1129, at the Council of Troyes, he blessed their rule, clothing them in white mantles with a red cross white for purity, red for the blood they would gladly shed for the innocent. They are knights of God, Bernard wrote, his words a lullaby to a weary world, who fight not for gold but for love. Their love was a living flame. By 1130, their ranks grew to 300, then thousands, their preceptories rising like lighthouses across Europe, from the misty moors of England to the sun-drenched hills of Portugal. In the Holy Land, they rode with pilgrims, their white cloaks a promise of safety, their swords drawn only to defend the defenseless. At the siege of Ascalon in 1153, 200 Templars held the breach against 10,000, their hearts singing with courage, their blood a baptism for the land they loved. They built hospitals where lepers were kissed on the forehead, orphanages where children were cradled like Christ himself, their charity a river that never ran dry. Their banking system, born of trust, carried pilgrims' gold across continents, sealed with the Templar cross, a father's hand guiding his child through danger. Kings borrowed from them, popes sought their counsel, and the poor wept at their gates, for the Templars gave without counting the cost. They were monks in armor, praying 5 times a day, eating in silence, their hearts turned always to God. Non nobis, Domine, they sang, not to us, Lord, but to your name give glory. Yet even love draws envy. In 1307, King Philip IV of France, drowning in debt, turned on his protectors. False accusations, heresy, idolatry, sodomy were wrung from tortured lips, the Templars' white mantles stained with lies. Jacques de Molay, 71, the last Grand Master, stood before the flames in Paris on March 18, 1314, his voice steady as he proclaimed their innocence, his eyes lifted to heaven in forgiveness. God knows who is wrong and has sinned, he whispered, and within a year, Philip and Pope Clement lay dead, their hearts stilled by a justice divine. The order dissolved, but their light did not fade. Their spirit lived in the Hospitallers who carried their torch, in the cathedrals built with their gold, in the pilgrims who walked safely because of their sacrifice. Their love became legend whispers of the Holy Grail, of treasures hidden in love's name, of a brotherhood that never truly died. 907 years ago, the Templars were love made manifest, 9 knights, 30,000 churches avenged, a world cradled in white. From Jerusalem's dusty roads to Paris's cruel pyre, theirs is a story of devotion's eternal dawn, etched in white mantles, red crosses, and the heart's unquenchable tender light.